This lesson is going to be looking at multiplying and dividing integers. There are two rules for multiplying and dividing integers. They are exactly the same. So rule number one is if the signs are the same, then the product or the quotient, remember a product is the answer to a multiplication problem and the quotient is an answer to a division problem, then they would be positive. So you've multiplied two positive numbers since you've learned how to multiply, and the answer has always been positive because the signs were the same. So if I'm looking at 2 times 3, my answer would still be positive 6. But then if I'm looking at negative 2 times negative 3, the signs are the same still, so that still gives me positive 6. Then I'm looking at division. 6 divided by 2. We've done that since elementary school. That's 3. But then if we're looking at negative 6 and negative 2, again the signs are the same, so the division works the same way. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And since the signs are the same, the answer still is positive 3. The other rule for multiplying and dividing integers is if the signs are different, so you have one positive number and you have one negative number, the product and the quotient is going to be negative. So you still multiply or divide the same, but your answer is negative when you have one sign that's positive and one sign that's negative. So if we're looking at positive 2 times negative 3, the signs are different, so that means my answer is going to be a negative, and then 2 times 3 still is 6. Same thing with our other example. If I have negative 2 times 3, my answer is still negative because I have one sign that's positive, one sign that's negative, and then 3 times 2 gives me 6. It works the same way for division. So if I'm looking at negative 6 divided by positive 2, my signs are different, so my answer is negative, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. Same thing with this example. If I'm looking at my signs, they're different again, so that tells me my answer is negative. And then 6 divided by 2 still is 3. So my answer still is negative 3. The last thing I want to take a look at with multiplication and division is what happens if there's multiple negative signs within a problem. How do you determine whether your answer is positive or negative? There's a quick way of doing it. You still have to do all the multiplication or all the division. However, there's a quick way of determining whether your answer is positive or negative. So if you look in the screen where there is the stars, it tells you if there is an even number of negatives, then your product or your quotient is going to be positive. If there is an odd number of negatives, then your product or your quotient is going to be negative. So if you look at the top of the examples, we have negative 1 times negative 1 a whole bunch of times. We know that 1 times 1, no matter how many times you do it, is always equal to 1. So we know that all of these are going to be equal to a form of 1. But we have to decide whether it's positive or negative. So if we're looking at the first problem, I have two negative 1s that I'm multiplying together. 2 is an even number, therefore my answer is positive. The next example, I have 3 negatives that I'm multiplying together. 3 is an odd number, so then that means that one would be negative. The next example has 4 negatives. If I'm multiplying together 4 negatives, that's an even number, so then my 1 would be positive. And the last one, I'm multiplying 5 negatives together. 5 is an odd number, so then my answer would be negative 1.